We're in the process of putting together an orchard. What do we need to do to prepare it before? I mean, we've talked to all kinds of people where you need to do this, you need to do that.
I'll tell you what to do, and it's simple. Is there grass there now?
No.
Okay, it's just dirt.
Just dirt.
Dig a hole big enough for the tree, put it in it, but don't buy them now. Never buy a potted tree. Never. Here's why. When you put a tree in a pot, the sides are circular. The roots hit that side and they grow in a circular manner. Are you following me? They're trained, they're bent in that.
Yeah.
When you put that in the ground, they stay in that form, and as they go around each other, they girdle themselves and choke themselves off. Always buy trees in February that are bare root, that are out of the ground and the roots are exposed and they're not girdled. So in February you buy your trees, plant them in the soil, and what you do is you dig a hole in the dirt, I don't care what it is, just the dirt, plant that tree at ground level and put witches over it and you're done. They did an experiment in Washington University which was powerful, really amazing. They had ground like mine, this heavy clay, and they bought 3 apple trees, exactly the same variety and the same size, and they did these 3 tests. The first one, they did this, they always tell you to dig a big hole. They took out all the heavy clay, brought in beautiful standing topsoil, and planted the tree in. The second one, they took out the soil and mixed it with peat moss and all this organic material, and put that back in the hole and planted the tree. The third one, they did what I told you to do, just planted it in the soil and put covering compost over it. Those trees were there for 3 years. The 2 in the prepared soils never grew. 1 in the soil, the dirt, the covering, totally thrived. They dug them up. You know what they found? All the ones, those first 2, had root rot because they created a clay pot. When that water went through that fine stuff, it hit where they stopped digging and stayed there, and that plant stood in a bucket of water and the roots rotted. I'm just telling you, man, and here they work so hard to do all this stuff to fail. And my sense is, let's be real, tree, this is where you live. This is our soil. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to put you in it, but I'm going to do everything I can to cover you and give you good sustenance so this can change and bless you. And they do, and they're great. So keep it simple, just plant in that space. And something that's really important, buy nothing but dwarf trees because they're going to get bigger than you want. And don't go by the book. 10 to 12 feet apart. Mine are 15 feet apart and they're all touching. 15 minimum on dwarf trees. Because the roots are going to get way bigger than they tell you. The trees are going to get much bigger. And again, you see they're coming from a broken premise in hard compacted ground, and this is all they know. So everything they're telling you is from default. They have never seen this before. You've never seen fruit trees bent over like that. I'm just telling you, this is the norm. This is how it was created. And you know what God showed me this last week was so awesome? I mean, it was like a major revelation. Is those trees are operating in a humble mode. They're all bent over. They're humble. I thought, wow, what a picture. They're not upright, showing off. They're all bent over, operating in a humble, knelt position.
And that's how you pruned them?
I can't prune a bend. That's how they grow because of the weight of the fruit. The fruit is so heavy, they bend the branches down. It's the weight. You can't prune a bend. Those are all bent over because of weight. But it's a humble position. You know what's so awesome about these? Look at the size of those trunks, how big they are. Any child can walk out there and pick the fruit. It's all accessible. I never use a ladder. Are we talking convenience? I love it.
Me too.
I love convenience, man.
And the dwarf isn't genetically altered
no,
at all?
what dwarf is, like I share, is that they do use a root system that doesn't develop a large root system. Because the root system stays small, the tree stays small.
Okay.
You see, they'll take a cultivar you want, and they'll graft it into a rootstock. And because the rootstock will maintain a small root system, which you see is not happening here, that keeps the tree little. So that's how they have dwarf. My point is, don't buy anything but dwarf because they're going to get bigger than you want. You know, and plant them at least 15 feet apart. At least 15. I'm going to give you some names of some awesome apple varieties. Write these down. The first 2, you love the names. Liberty and Freedom.
I do.
I love that. And they really are, they'll set you free because they have no disease issues, they're fungal free, and they produce awesome, wonderful fruit.
And if you plant them in February, say we have snow on our ground in February.
No problem. Just get them from the nursery and wait to put them someplace where it's, you know, in the garage, because they're bare root. They're not growing. They're dormant, so they're not going to dry out. And so, you know, go to your nurseries when they show up. They may be later where you live. So just ask them when you're bringing your bare root in, and go to the first day because you'll get the best selection. The longer you wait, the better ones are picked out. So always go immediately when they first come in to get the best selection. And how you select trees is by shape, not size. Are you following me? Size will always get there. But if you have lousy shape, and something you never want to buy is a V crotch. A crotch that has a V, because what happens as it grows and the weight develops, it's going to split apart. It's going to just totally pry apart because it's not well attached. You see, branches coming out of different places are well attached. Where V's, it's a very narrow thing there, and when you get weight, it's going to split it in two. So never buy a V crotch tree.
And you just buy them at a regular nursery?
Yeah, you talk to people around your neighborhood who are growing good trees. You know, wisdom's the counsel of many.
We don't have... Where we are...
It's desert,
okay.
So you have to bring in whatever you want.
Then write down this name. This is going to be small trees because they're going to ship them to you, but they're good quality. Is Burnt Ridge Nurseries. They're in Onalaska, Washington, and they have a catalog of sending, and they'll ship you trees.
And it doesn't matter.
They'll be small, but Burnt Ridge Nursery in Onalaska, Washington, and they'll ship them to you. Now let me give you these names, these really cool varieties. You got Liberty and Freedom. The next one is Honeycrisp. Honeycrisp is an amazing apple. I have never seen an apple keep. That thing stores in my cooler for the whole year. I'm talking like, I had my son here last August, and we're eating these apples out of the cooler that are as hard as crystals. The one they're picking off the tree, he was totally shocked. It's like amazing how they keep. And they're really a good apple anyway. And another one is called William's Pride. William's Pride is an early apple, but it's unusual. It's very crisp. Most early apples are mushy. This thing is really crisp. Amazing variety. William's Pride. And then the other one is from Japan. It's called Akane. A-K-A-N-E. That apple you can bring in the house, and the whole house will fill with aroma. It's such an aromatic, incredible apple. The flavor is just over the top.
So do you have to have a variety of these to pollinate
Cross-pollinate,
each other?
yeah. They do not.
Okay.
They're not selling, and so these will do it.
Okay.
And then pray, you know, and then God, you know, look in catalogs, read, and here's how you hear from God. You know, the word says, "Let the peace of God rule in your heart." And the word "rule" in the Greek is "be the umpire." If you have a peace, go there. If you have a check, I don't know about this, don't. Just be led by peace. Ask God, is this a good variety? And just wait to hear. If you got a peace, go for it. If you have, I don't know, don't. Always be led by peace, and you're safe.
Always be led by peace.
Peace, yeah, peace. Let peace. See, if you got a check, I don't know about this. That's God saying, don't go there. Because you see, whatever's not of faith is sin. And when you have a check, you're not in faith. Are you following me? And so you always want to have this peace, this confidence. This will be okay. This is good. And He wants to lead you by peace. My peace I give him, He says, is not of the world. It's a totally different peace. And it should be the thing that just totally transcends and guides your whole life.
And then you're saying if you plant them that small, bare-rooted, how many years are you looking at waiting?
Well, depending on the variety, like, you know, I planted, that wasn't the one I got this from the nursery, but I planted that Liberty in February, and in June I took 30 apples off of it.
And that was a bare-rooted,
Bare-rooted tree, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that big.
But you see, but when I first came here, my soil was pretty poor. I'm waiting 5 to 7 years before I saw an apple. Now, because it's so rich, they produce immediately.
So we can start building
because they can't help
The
it.
soil you have to build it. That's
But it comes. You know, you can't start yesterday. You have to go where you're at. Just be in faith. God, this is what I'm learning. I'm just going to be. You know, whatever's out of faith is sin. You want to always be in faith. Believe God and pray. When you plant stuff, bless it. I just bless this, and this is going to do well. You know, death and life in the power of the tongue. We've got to be careful what we say. And as a man or woman thinks in their heart, so are they. I think this is not going to work. My soil is no good. Well, that's your reality. You think, you know, God's awesome. He's redemptive. He's going to make this good. I looked at what that guy did. I saw his lousy soil. Man, God, you can do it.
He created this?
Yeah, this is all him. And he's done it from that lousy, funky, hard stuff. So it's doable. So faith is so huge. And I love that word. Jesus says, to her that believeth, all things are possible. I love those alls in life. There's no places to miss it. If you believe, it can happen. So just get in the habit of believing. And I love faith. It says without faith and God gets blessed by faith. When you believe, that just blesses God. He's pleased with faith. So you can't go wrong by believing.
So if we build up our soil this year and then we planted the...
In February would be great.
February?
Yeah, just start putting covering now, and as you lay it there, it just starts building that soil. And all winter long, as snow and rain comes, it just builds it up. And come spring, man, stuff's going to be great.
Okay.
And it gets better every year. Just because the natural process is continually breaking down and putting back more in the soil and the plants can take out. It just gets better and better. See, isn't that the nature of God? God's not static. He's not boring. He's always about multiplying.
I never thought of it. But look at the trees.
Yeah. Who takes care of those?
Huge.
Beautiful. And they're not watered. They're not fertilized. And this has been going on for 6,000 years. Wake up. You know what I shared in the film, I think is so cool about God? He was so genius. He designed this landscape project on planet Earth. This is a huge landscape project. If you think about planet. He designed it such a way he would never have to show up to work. That gets my attention. He designed this. We do a landscape project, we become slaves. Mowing, weeding, pruning, doing all this stuff. God does this magnanimous landscape project and he never shows up to work. Because it's totally sustainable on its own. It takes care of itself. What genius design, man. I love it. And see, I'm starting to track. I'm sitting there like, okay, God, I want to get this. I like this idea of no work. It really appeals to me. So show me how you're doing it. It's cool. It's getting easier and easier.